thought I was the winner. So when they said, I was like, and then when I did, I was like, ah.
Bespoke Minds Podcast, a place where we actively discuss mental health, self-care, and healing, share stories to enhance our insight in an interactive way. Hello and welcome to Bespoke Minds Podcast. I'm your host, Cornelia CK, and in today's episode, we have an open discussion about sports. Before we get started, let me introduce you to my lovely guest.
Wellness practitioner, currently a university psychology student, soon to be a graduate. And the reason why I'm here today speaking on this subject is because I did have a short history in semi-pro boxing.
My name is Glody Wabelo. I'm creating a business, Glow Fitness UK, young people and young adults with mental health through fitness.
My name is Akela Tijani. You can also call me Aki. Currently studying software engineering, mechanical engineering, my final year. Currently on a work placement. The reason I'm on this podcast is because I have some issue with amateur boxing, and I have a big passion about it, and I understand the gravity about mental health in it as well. But yes, me.
Okay, so my name's Simon Dahl, physical health practitioner at Tottenham Hotspur Foundation. So I've been involved in sports all my life, and probably the reason why I'm here as well. So I've got quite a lot of experience in helping athletes, individuals in their physical, mental well-being. Yeah.
Lovely. See, we only bring the best for you here. So we're going to move on to the next segment. We're going to play a game, which is called Break the Ice. So I'm going to ask you two opposites, and then you say what you prefer, and you tell me why. Okay? Do you prefer to go on holiday or to go to a party?
Holiday. A party on holiday.
Yeah. You can have a party on holiday.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Have you been on holiday recently, anybody?
I went to Turkey a couple of months back. That was nice. And I did like one of them really cheesy, all-inclusive. Normally, I'm the kind of like backpack holiday person where I'm like, yeah, let me go see the sights and walking around. But the goal this time was to do absolutely nothing. So I was like, yeah, 5-star all-inclusive. I just walk to and from my meals and snap my fingers for cocktails kind of vibes. But obviously, when you go there, you've got a certain crowd of people. So me and my missus, the youngest people there.
Oh, wow.
There was like a little gym there, and I went to the gym and I had like a glass window.
Oh, so you're
Like,
feeling yourself.
all the old grannies were walking past like,
What was you doing?
Make people hot in a hot country.
It must be. I was like, I'm not coming to this gym again. Too many hours for me. But yeah, it was nice.
Any holiday lists? Any places to go list?
I do want to go to Morocco.
Oh,
It's a nice one. Because I even know the journey's not too far. Like, I thought it was actually far, but apparently it's just like max 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Just the other side of Spain. It's a peaceful places.
It's quite nice. I need to go back. I went there like 2016.
I haven't been on a holiday like that. I couldn't say when the last time I went on holiday, but like a couple of months last year, I went to Switzerland, but it wasn't a holiday. It was like work related for a week. Yeah. I'm on license in it, but I can't really.
How was the weather? Is it cold?
In Switzerland,
Yeah.
the period that I went, it was cold. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Went to Finland and it was snowing. It was like -5 degrees.
Yeah.
So I won't be going back there.
You know, I've never been to a country colder than this. I refuse to spend money to go to anywhere colder than this.
I feel like it's a different type of cold though.
Probably.
Like, it's cold, but I was in shorts and that.
Oh, really?
Mad, yeah.
I feel like you're one of them guys that are always in shorts anyway.
It is. It's just comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a man that I
I've
like
never heard
to
that
feel
word.
free.
Cold and comfortable.
Trust.
Yeah, no, I'm too Jamaican for that. We got skinny ankles.
As into the next question nicely. Do you prefer beauty or comfort?
Beauty or comfort? 50-50. No.
In what though?
Just in
Do you
general.
prefer to look good or be comfortable?
Yeah.
No, I'm not comfortable.
Comfortable. Yeah, 50-50. It's a certain element of like, don't disgrace yourself in public. But obviously, you still want to be comfortable at the same time, you know.
I think it depends on the setting. If I'm in my yard, then definitely, like, I'm not trying to impress nobody, so I can be wearing anything. But yeah, if I'm outdoors, then I have to present myself in a certain type of way.
So,
I was going to say, the one thing I don't like, I hate wearing jeans in the cinema. We're watching a film.
That's very specific. I don't
Like now, so I'm thinking, that's why I like wearing shorts anyway. I just like to feel a bit free. But in the cinema, you're sitting down for 2
Oh,
hours or
like
so.
breathe.
Uncomfortable,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
What about the
Oh,
plane? Do you wear jeans on the plane then?
No, I wear shorts. I was gonna wear shorts for my wedding, so
Oh.
Yeah,
obviously
so
the wife to be said no.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah,
That's
I'm used to just wearing tracksuit. Like everywhere I go, like I'm in tracksuit.
Mm,
Obviously, some people don't like it. You're always in sportswear, but it's like I'm used to it. I'm comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like jeans don't feel right anymore. Like
That's
when I
it.
put it on.
See, I'm normally a combat person because it's like a happy medium, isn't it? Like it's
Combat.
casual, but it's not like overly casual when it's not that. You can get away. You can wear like combat t-shirt or
Yeah. That's the thing, innit? You can dress it up or down, isn't it? It's got a range.
You can dress up shorts.
Seen them do.
The shorts as well with heels or, so yeah, you can, it's true.
What kind of shorts are you talking about though? Like the jean shorts?
Yeah, there's
Must
levels.
be.
There's
Yeah,
levels to
jean
shorts.
shorts is a way, yeah. But if even like a khaki or
I feel like
is it
I
chino?
feel like you wear
Chino type
you
shorts?
wear like a shirt with like sports shorts. Tuck it in. It's been a long time. You might have.
It's important and beauty too.
Mm.
So the next question is pleasure or pain? Do you prefer? There are some individuals who thrive and they enjoy being in pain.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
some
think
would argue as like someone that does boxing. Maybe there is an element of like maybe you like not like to be in pain, but like you like the
See, it's because you know the reward. Like you can
Mm.
kind of see, okay, this
Mm.
pain is gonna give me something at least. Like if I'm training for stamina, and
yeah,
I know it's painful, I know at least in the ring,
yeah,
something's
gonna
gonna
pay
suffer
off.
because I'm.
You're gonna
I'm
get some
practicing.
kind of
The adrenaline,
You know what I'm
the
saying?
rush.
Yeah, the training element. Yeah, I think the pain is good because you feel like I'm doing something here that's
Mm.
worthwhile. It's going to
Like
take me to the next
evidence.
step.
It's like evidence that you're
Yeah.
actually pushing your limits. Like, so yeah,
Yeah, I like
in
it.
that sense, and I like a tattoo. So
Mm.
pain.
To an extent, I would say to an extent, like obviously I'm not on the level, like David Goggins who like he loves pain. I don't see it like that. I just see it, if it's gonna give me reward. I can't go to training
Mm.
and just hurt myself just cause why not? It has to give, some sort
You're
of,
on purpose.
yeah.
Like the next day pain. I love it.
The
Like,
domes.
yeah.
Dom.
I love the dogs, like
I've got
walking
a
down the
balance
stairs
dog.
and my legs are in pain. I like that feeling. Like,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying?
Even it's like when you start working out, have that pain. I think a lot of the time people run away because of the pain
Yeah.
or the
yeah,
commitment as well. But so the fact that you get enjoyment, some people get enjoyment out of pain is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably can link the two. You get
Yeah.
the pain, then you get the pleasure from the pain that you feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only way that I can.
Yeah.
Don't twist it up.
Yeah, true. Or the pain leads to the pleasure because the result you look good.
Yeah.
That's true. So are you an introvert or an extrovert, would you say?
I'm shy.
I would say more. Yeah.
Depends the person, the
Mm,
location.
mm,
You have to read the room first.
yeah.
Like some people might think I'm an introvert, but some people might think I'm extrovert depending on the situation. Like right now, people might think I'm extrovert.
Mm,
Go to I don't know, all the way on the other side of London. My friends are thinking, this guy is nowhere an introvert. Like
mm,
it just depends how comfortable I am. So
I mean, psychologically speaking, introverts and extroverts are very vague because you can get really introverted people that appear extroverted because they feel uncomfortable with the social situation.
mm,
So they might not necessarily be an extrovert, but the way they present themselves in order to make themselves feel comfortable or to fit in, like you say, they might appear that way. So I would just feel like even those two things as a definition is too vague to say.
People can easily fit into both
Mm.
based on the situation. It
Yeah,
changes.
Definitely fit into both. That I've been in introvert situations where you have to be introvert. Do you know what I mean? There's no extrovert. It's not gonna get you anywhere. Do you know what I'm saying? This for me extrovert, and I like my own company. Extrovert, come in here, group of people, walking. But after this, I'm back in my show. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Are you out of your comfort zone at the moment?
I wouldn't say I'm out of my comfort zone. It's just something that, this is my first podcast. I've never done a podcast before this setting anyway.
Mm.
So I wouldn't say it's out of my comfort zone, but it's a new experience, isn't it?
But you're open to new experiences as well in general.
Yeah.
Cool. Move on to the next segment, which is called Moments of Truths. And it's Have You Ever Questioned? Have you ever been brokenhearted?
When I was young, when I was in like primary school, I'm not gonna say the girl's name. You get me?
Mm.
But there was this girl in primary school. Yeah, I genuinely felt like I loved her.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't tell her that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And then she ended up having a boyfriend. And I was I was hurt, but she didn't even know
Okay.
my feelings. But I was broken. I was heartbroken. After that, I was like, I'm done, man.
Do you know what? That's
Wash
really
your hands of
interesting.
I'm done with this love stuff. This feeling, you get me?
From primary.
From primary.
I'm done. I was done. I don't want to feel like that. It's like thinking about someone all the time.
Mm.
They're in your mind. You see them. You know what I'm saying? It's like so much energy. Like,
Have you had the opportunity to see this person again since?
nah.
You searched?
You know, at the time,
Yeah.
like like year 7, year 8 time, when you split from primary school, you might do what was he using then? Bebo or something. I think it was it Bebo? No, it was
Rings a bell.
MySpace.
That was like, MySpace.
You know, remember Bebo when you can like
MSN.
everyone's like send me love.
Mm.
But yeah, that was about it.
So you never got tempted to like just hit her up and be like, look at me now.
I wouldn't even. No, I wouldn't even know.
Might look completely different now.
Well, I'd imagine so from primary school. If you don't know this in primary school,
There's those things where it's like if you grow up in a household of love, you're gonna understand love, innit? And you're gonna want to be in love, and when you grow up, it's easy to say I love you and all these things, but when you grow up in a household where it's tough love and like you don't really hear that word used often, like just your normal parents saying I love you, like do you know what I'm saying? If you don't grow up in that thing, it's like love is just a word, isn't it? For me, love is just a word. Apart from that experience in primary school, for me.
yeah, but for you to be able to identify it and like and even be like have the emotional intelligence to know that it's something that maybe you was lacking. I think that's a big testament to yourself. You shouldn't really cap yourself for that kind of thing when you know that it's something that you could do better. You know what I mean? Don't let this one go in primary school mash up your life, man. Love is a good thing.
It's choices you make, and when you're in that kind of situation, that them choices, if you're going to choose to invest in that person, and if they invest in back, so it's like in the actions that you get back and you receive, shows the love.
Yeah.
I think you can throw the word out, say it throughout your life, but it's the actions that are going to make that person feel. This is my own personal opinion. And them actions going to make you feel that type of way that you're wanted or you're needed, and that's where you can, I'll say, use the word love. It comes from them actions. I think I've been big on the actions towards me and what I give out. That's what's determined that kind of, them words being.
I feel like you've been reading the love language books. What's your love language?
No, it's experience. Life experience.
Life experience.
But everyone has different understanding of how to respond from love. You know what I'm saying? Like I could meet you and you love me, you like me, you're showing me all the ways that you can love me. But if I'm not understanding that, I don't want to use the word normal, but seeing each other, you bought me a present, I bought you a present. It's normal, innit? Do I actually love this person? You know what I'm saying? But it's that understanding what actually love is.
Creating and making your own definition.
Yeah, exactly. Because people come into situations and they just expect you to accept their love. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. But it's like, one that hasn't had love, can't just expect them to accept it and be like, yeah, I love you too.
The process is a journey.
Yeah.
And it's constantly changing as well.
Yeah.
Well, I would say anything before age 18 don't really count as heartbreak. I feel like that's just part of growing up, like, like the typical, I like this girl, she may not reciprocate that back, and then heartbroken. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's heartbroken, but in terms of university, I would say I've had my fair share of, shock to the heart, but realize what is the proper communication for somebody that you do truly care about. Because I would say when I was heartbroken, it was nobody's fault. I even learned a lot from why it kind of broke down. I would say that it definitely did help me in a sense, but it made me also realize that people need to be careful when they throw the word around love, because sometimes it can just be infatuation. You understand that? What I've come across, like, especially from talking about your parents, you actually start to understand the definition of love. Obviously, when you're talking about the relationship term, but you start to realize love is not just conditional to a certain element that you do this, you do that, and then I love you. But it's regardless of the situation. And love can also be expressed that They might do things that might annoy you, piss you off, but you ignore it because you truly love this person, regardless of the situation.
Anyone else wants to comment, or should we move on?
Sorry, what you said on
Yeah.
Heartbreak?
We can-
I feel like I have to say everything, because every time there's a break, people are looking at me.
The reason why I put this here as well, because we're a male panel, and it's really, a lot of the times, a lot of women speak about that openly and stuff like that. So I think it's important to see that there is sensitivity within men as well.
Yeah.
Because in society, there's a lot of like stereotypes and
I
stigma
think
too.
for me, though, I think the important part is I identified before I met my partner now, my fiance now. I think before our relationship, I was like, on reflection, I think I was a lot more immature than I gave myself credit for. Like, I thought that just because I'd reached a certain age and because I'd been through a few relationships, that I was experienced and I was mature in terms of like developing the relationship or understanding emotions and blah, blah, blah. But I think part of my issue was like I didn't allow myself to be vulnerable in relationships before the one that I'm currently in. And I don't know if it might be an upbringing thing as well, because tough love and whatnot, and guys are not really made to allow themselves to be vulnerable. We talk about masculinity, but it's a very fragile thing, masculinity, a lot of the time. All it takes is one moment for a girl to say something to you or for you to feel a certain type of way about your own masculinity, and then that can have quite a detrimental change on the way that you feel about yourself, and then it could lead to all of the things that are quite known within the male society. Not that it was ever that deep for me, but I know, speaking to peers and just being around other guys, that being vulnerable is something that we're not very comfortable doing, talking about, or being. And I think socially, I think society, apart from the way that you're grown up as well and your culture, it's just not conducive to men being vulnerable, I think. So I think that was a reflection of the way that I moved in relationships before the one that I was in. So surprisingly, I didn't really go through much heartbreak, because the moment that it got to a stage where that could be a possibility, I'm no longer available. I've already kind of switched it off. And sometimes that can be before I've even ended the relationship. So I think probably 99% of the relationships I've been in, I haven't allowed the girl to even have the opportunity to break up with me. That's how, like, you get what I mean? The moment that I see things going left, even if I thought it was going well, but I can sense in you, you're not on it the same way that I'm on it, then I'm going to now start to convince myself that this ain't it, we ain't doing that kind of thing. So, yeah, I didn't really... Heartbreak comes in different shapes for me, like losing a loved one to gun crime or to some kind of unfortunate accident, or that kind of thing is the only time where it really pulls at me. But if it's not that level of detrimental, I think I did train myself. I've got better now, but I did train myself to tell myself basically it's not that deep. Like, she's just a girl, just had a bit of fun. You might have got a bit carried away in the relationship and thought it was something, but now she's saying something that's making you think, oh, you need to back that up. So, yeah, I think that's how I've avoided
To that. Looking back at my past, I would say there's elements, it wasn't me totally, but there's elements of me that I did show vulnerability. I would allow myself to be vulnerable. But then there's that moments that I felt I've given my vulnerability to the person and they've thrown it back at me like it's nothing. Then it's like, similar to you saying that I wouldn't let myself get to a point of love, anything like that. But I will show my vulnerability maybe earlier than maybe the expected man might. To think, oh, you're going to see this side of me. And then sometimes I feel like it's thrown back. And then it's like, all right, well, done with this then.
Fortunately, more often than not, when men do show their vulnerability, especially to a woman that doesn't actually love them or doesn't rate them or whatever, however you want to say it, a lot of the time it's that point where you expose yourself as a man emotionally, and then you get cut down for whatever reason. It doesn't even have to be as deep as a guy, you're trying to be emotional. It could just be like you've done something or said something and she's responded to it in an almost like side-eye kind of cringy kind of way. So, and that will make a man double up. Next relationship that he's in, he ain't doing nothing like that.
Kind of, through my life, I kind of would show that to say, I do care. I'm a caring person naturally. But it wouldn't be a thing of, I love this person, but I do care. Because of that being that caring nature of me, I will show something that's maybe too early to show. Maybe that right even say about too early to show. I showed it because I believe
It's
like,
you,
it's
isn't it?
me.
It's part
It's
of who you
truly
are.
who I am. So I am that caring person. So yeah, when I did show them elements of being like that, it wasn't always received the way you would think it should be received. And then that builds that kind of block that you will have to say, nah, I'm not going through that kind of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. There's an element that you show and there's an element that you hide.
Yeah.
And it becomes a-
This is talking about past.
That's actually sad because we'll find out a lot of guys, like even me, I'm a victim of it myself. I used to kind of put this nonchalant vibe. Like if there, especially if it's somebody I actually do care about and I actually do have a lot of feelings for towards, if I start to feel this element of she's not reciprocating that kind of love that I naturally love to give, I would then try and put this nonchalant energy, but that's not me, and I know that's not me. So when it actually comes down to when she's giving me this energy, and the nonchalant guy is like, whatever, I can't do that, and it kind of backfires on me because I'm trying to play something I'm not. And you find that a lot of guys do this because they're scared of putting their true self out there. And don't get twisted, it's not all women are like this. Trust me, women will actually love you the way. But it's just, unfortunately, guys have had that bad experience where they've seen somebody, had a relationship with somebody that kind of made them feel like they were ashamed to be that truly loving person. And the only person they can do it to is their mother. And not all people even have a loving mother relationship. So it's kind of this thing where this guy builds this up and then they will dish it out onto a woman, this energy that they shouldn't. And then that woman will deliver that back onto another guy, and the cycle just keeps repeating. And I feel like guys need to realize, and I'm still young by the way, like I'm not saying you guys are not, but I feel like I'm starting to come to understand that it's okay. Sometimes it might backfire. It doesn't mean that that's how everybody is for you. It's just getting used to understanding that even when you're vulnerable, that's your true self. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. But I understand a lot of guys will be thinking, nah, let me tug it out. Like, don't worry about it. They'll move on to the next one. They don't know, they're just delivering that trauma onto the next person, and it's just a cycle repeating.
I think it takes a while as a man to be comfortable with rejection, because I feel like women are nowhere near as much as exposed in some ways in terms of like relationships, because stereotypically the man's meant to put their foot forward and be the one to kind of guide the woman through, especially the first steps of the relationship. They're expected to pay and lead and blah, 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 organize this and whatever. So I feel like a lot of the time, I think part of growing up is like getting those no's, not only in like the job setting, but in relationships as well. And being able to, as a man, be like, take it as like, I don't know, take it as constructive feedback, like you would when you go to a job interview, rather than, because you know, say certain man will turn around and go says no to them, then it's complete. They completely lose their mind and they start shouting abuse at the girl and all this other stuff. This is what I'm saying, all of that energy. But as if you're a mature man and you've matured in relationships, even in terms of your relationship with hearing a negative feedback from something you're doing, then you should be able to take that and use that to better yourself.
100%. Because it becomes like an outlet in terms of the behavior, and then also it's a coping mechanism, isn't it? For them, and like what Kim said as well, the trauma, and you're just constantly needing.
That's why they say hurt people.
Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth. In terms of boxing and sports, would you experience heartbreak? But the thought that came to my mind is that, for instance, if you're competing in something and you don't win, do you think that warrants a heartbreak too, or is that completely different?
Absolutely. I even had one recently. Well, in September, there was a London Championship final. And the thing with me is I have like a very rigid like layout of how I want my boxing amateur career to go. So if I don't win this, then I can't progress any further. I'm not saying it's right or bad, but that's how I thought in my head. So I was counting on winning this championship, right? And it was even worse because when they announced the winner, like I thought I was the winner. So when they said, I was like, and then when I did, I was like, and I promise you, when I don't know, I have not experienced that feeling. My heart is shattered, and from the outside, no one can truly grasp like that feeling until you're in the ring, especially when you have to go through weight cut, not eating certain meals, the training, those 10K runs, that you're training, and it's like all of this just to lose, like that. And it was
saying. That's the kind of stuff where you see that fight that AJ had, where at the end of the fight he was moving a bit mad at the end of it, and people thought like, rah. He maybe got one too tough in the head, and now he's like, that's when he started singing "Happy Birthday" at one point. But it literally is like mentally, like boxing is such a mental battle because it's you versus you. It's not like a team sport where you've got your other players to rely on, and you know you can kind of you've got your actual role in a group dynamic. For boxing, you have to be your. A lot of the time, you've got like support in terms of like mentors and coaches and other people that are boxing. If you're in the sparring gym, and you'll know people naturally. But the moment that you get into that actual ring, then it's just you. That's what I'm saying. And all that training you did, and all those words you told yourself, and all the expectations, like you said, that you have for yourself if you win this, and so on and so forth. And then sometimes you go into it, and especially if it's a situation where, because I've been in situations where it's gone to like deliberation where the points have to be added up, and then obviously like it shouldn't even be a question, and then you hear the other guy's name. You're thinking to yourself, like, loads of thoughts just come rushing to you straight away. You think, okay, did I do as well as I thought? Am I doing good enough? Like, I need to work harder. These people robbed me. All these thoughts come into your brain, and then even as a black man, you start to think, is it a race thing? Like,
That's the 4 stages of grief. Like, you got the first, like, the shock, like, wait, what? And then the second, like, you start even asking your coach, wait, coach, like, did I lose? Like, surely I didn't lose. You're asking the people watching, did I lose? And you get the third, the realization, like, I fully fumbled this. And then you've got the next stage, which is just, like, complete. You're just ashamed. And people are surprised because, like, one thing I didn't think would actually be like that, because before I used to play rugby, and when we lost, I'd be upset. But one thing I come to learn in boxing is being ashamed when you lose, which you'd be like, why would you be ashamed? It's like, you'd be thinking, people have come to watch me. Like, my family's come, like, my friends, everybody, and I've lost like that. Like, how could you lose like that? So you've got that self-talk of, like, hatred towards yourself. And it's so hard to explain this feeling because people don't understand until they get in the ring.
Me, that I never even invited anyone to my boxing match. In my whole career, I was boxing for like 3-4 years.
Really?
And I never invited hardly anyone. I think I might have invited people that I didn't really care about that much. So we can stop being friends, or I might not see you again, and only you would know that this happened, kind of thing. But yeah, I had such anxiety about, because in your brain, again, you're thinking about so many things. So I'm thinking to myself, like, I know that I've trained myself to win this fight, but maybe if my mum's in the stands going, yeah, then that might throw me off, like, or something, or the anxiety of losing in front of all of my peers and parents and family members might make it's just something more to think about when you're in the ring. So yeah,
for that one, I even had one fight. I told my sister the time of my fight an hour later, so she missed it because I was even thinking, I don't like, just in case, I don't know why. There's this certain feeling, like, especially, God forbid, I'm not gonna get dropped. This head is strong. Like, just that idea that imagine getting dropped in front of your family, it just don't sit right with me. Do you understand? Like, and I never used to understand that until there was one time I got one bang in one round. I didn't get dropped, but that's when I realized, like, wait, is boxing really for me? Like, when you really get that, there's certain bangs where you realize, maybe is this sport? Am I really built like this? Like, I don't know.
And I think I didn't want it to be tainted as well. I think there was an element where I didn't want my family's opinion on boxing to taint something that I liked or loved to do. I didn't want them to come in and go, oh, if I did get dropped, oh, maybe you shouldn't do this anymore. Like, maybe you should go into computing or something like that.
No, that's really important because I've got a cousin who's a boxer as well. Well, he doesn't do boxing anymore. And at first, when he said he was going into boxing as a family, we're like, why? This and that. We thought about the implications, but when he had a fight and, you know, we went to some of his fights and we supported him and whatnot, but it's a lot. It's a lot because a lot of the time, sometimes I think as a fam, like, in that situation, I was just thinking of the negative and not the positive because we know that, you know, the impacts can be detrimental and life-changing. So, but now, even from listening to both of you today, it's given me more insight into the individual's experience and perspective.
Yeah. I mean, we're just touching the surface.
Same thing, I wouldn't have many people watch me either. But you have so many people watching you anyway. Or if obviously you lot are coming from boxing and I do a lot more team sports. So it's interesting what you're saying about like when you win and when you lose, how it feels and stuff. Because what I've faced playing football, like I've seen when I work with players playing football, is that you have the comfort of being around other people that you can lean on and stuff like that. But you could win a match, for instance, but you could be the reason why 2 of the goals were conceded and you won 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
So while everyone's basking in the glory of winning, you're sitting back thinking, I made 2 big mistakes that made the score how it is. So I'm not walking away with that same feeling. So although our team's won, I feel like I've lost.
Yeah.
I could have had people watching. Same thing, I wouldn't have many people watch me either. But you have so many people watching you anyway. Or if it's video, anyway, it's going to be out there anyway. So I find it quite interesting when I was growing up playing football, where your team, you win a game, or you're basking in defeat. And although your team's won, you might have won the league, might have got promoted, but you've made your own, as you would in boxing as well, you make your own goals that you want to achieve during that game or during the training to get to that game. You feel like, wow, and I failed myself. Or I'm trying to progress further. Teams won, but you didn't do well. You didn't win. So it's facing that even when you win, you lose. And me personally, I found that quite hard when I was playing football, like when I was training every day. Is that I'll do all of this stuff. My team could still win, but I still feel like I lost. And then I would carry that with me. So my mood will, I used to have my mood will be in line with if we've won, but also did I perform? And if I didn't, even if we did win, then I will still go home and my mood will change. My parents will see a different me. There's 2 elements now when my wife would actually see, like, even if Arsenal were to win or to lose, my mood changes a little bit. I think I've learned over time to navigate through it, but especially when I was playing a lot more, trying to like cut ways with, although you've won, good stuff did you do? I isolated them 2 big mistakes because they scored 2 goals, for instance, from my direct mistake. So people are looking at me like, yeah, he won, but he didn't play that well. This person carried him. And then you're thinking, that self-talk, like, I'm like the bad being in the group of players. And if a lot of the majority of players are thinking like that towards me, then I've got to play with them again. I've got all these personalities around me.
They don't pass you the ball and everything.
They might not pass the ball. Why didn't they pass it? Because I made that mistake the last time I asked for the ball and they got it. And growing through it, that was difficult.
Do they offer mental health support or any therapy or any coaching as such?
When I was playing, not so much. It was more like get up and move up. The semi-pro teams I used to play for back when I was a teenager were, I was the only teenager in the team. So there's a standard I have to come into immediately. And that you have to face up with people who are in their late 20s, 30s because they need that money for their mortgage, need it for their kids. So they'll look at you and like, don't make that mistake. Because I need to make sure I get this clean sheet bonus today. And when you get big men who are in their 30s and you're 18, 17, and they say, I need the clean sheet. I need to pay for my son's birthday. Help me. I'm thinking, wow, why are you throwing it on me? I'm just trying to enjoy football here. It has their own goals that they're trying to achieve while trying to get that collective goal. And it's how do you navigate through that? How do you block certain talk? And that's how I tried to deal with it at the time. Is that I would just say, shut up. Or I'll be kind of the feisty one in the team. To say, shut up, man, old man, da-da-da. Like, I'll just go on like that. I'm crying too much. But it was like a mechanism of defense. Because I didn't want to feel like I'm young.
Mental health, that overall in sports, like, it is very underestimated because there's a lot of people in the academy. You heard about that guy who was playing for a Man City academy, he got dropped and he committed suicide. And that's unfortunate because you would think that somebody would be given all the support, especially at that age, to overcome something like that. Because a lot of people, you hear the stories of people making it, you know, Kai Saka coming out from the academy, Arsenal academy, but you don't hear about the stories about the ones who were like less than a year away from getting a contract
And
after the academy.
their ACL and now they're done for.
I'll tell you a story. One of the previous football academies that I was, professional Premier League academy that I was working at, this player played for the team from under 7. What year is that in school?
Under 7 is that, yeah.
So like pre-academy. Yeah. So pre-academy, he was playing in the team. Academy throughout. So their life, they've grown up in this glorified Premier League football team. They haven't made it yet. They're still navigating through the age groups, but they're achieving their goals by getting through next age group, next contract. I was working with this player with this group at under 16 level. And, so he's been at the club for 8 years plus. That's a long time. Especially when you're that age, you're 16, you're thinking, I've been at one place for 8 years. You build a picture of where you feel you're going to be now in the next 8 years. And with this player now, they've come all the way to 16. They've got the contract for the under 16. Now, at this stage, you're fighting for scholarships. This is where the part-time Premier League football becomes full-time training because scholarships train every day. And then you get your education in and around it. So that's where obviously kids want to progress to. Early on in that season, at least you have to tell kids, right, listen, we're not looking to sign you this year. You can still train with us, but you can also go and find another team. And already that this individual I was thinking about, that hit him a lot. Thinking, well, I've been here 8 years, don't you care? And it's a cutthroat world. It's like this player now, he's gone from floor of like kissing the badge, like, yes, I'm playing for this team, moving through, till now there's a chance that he's going to go into college age, having to find all of a sudden subjects that maybe he won't concentrate on to try and focus on for another type of career because football is not promised to you. And it's not promised that when they're going for the age groups, they're not promised that they're going to get pro, but you're going to be filled with stuff in your head that you're good enough to make it next year. Good enough to make it next year. So they're going to assume that they're going to make it the next year. This player now comes under 16. He was told, possibly not going to sign you now. Still train with us, work hard, you never know. Might change in a few months. So he's had to navigate that. And then other football clubs are doing the same thing. So from another Premier League club who are higher standing, one player under 16 from there has been told not good enough. So they've come and trained with the team I work for. And then through that now, it took 2 weeks. This guy from the other team, 2 weeks, and the coaches are already like, we're taking him instead of him. So now it's come from possibly not going to sign you to definitely not going to sign you. And that, I was on the train with this kid. I say kid, he's 15 years old. He's crying his eyes out. Crying his eyes out, saying, I don't know what to do with my life anymore. And you think, you're 15. You've got a lot ahead of you. So much yet to achieve. But they feel like at that age, there's nothing more for me. And like them stories like you were saying, not so much that story, but stories like that where kids don't have any avenue to go to. It's big on academies and that now, because I keep a focus on academy football players. And I have a real interest in the youth and how they develop through them pressured years when they're 15, 16 and have to go out on their own. And how they navigate through that, and the support systems. Because they're Premier League clubs, especially, but other clubs as well, they're doing better in letting players know there's other avenues to go down while you're also trying to pursue your dream to play football. And I think maybe not so much then, it is, especially when I was playing. And young people, and I think back when you were young, you're thinking, right, yeah, I didn't take that well, and I thought, I didn't think I can make it as a player, then what am I going to do? You home in on one thing. That kid was crying his eyes out, thinking, my life has ended. And it started as I was doing a fitness coach with them. And you're there, you can't obviously comfort, and there's no hug type of stuff there, safeguarding and all that thing. But you just think you feel sorry for him, thinking there's so much ahead of you, but you can't see it. So let young people know that there's so many different avenues. It's okay to home in on your passion. You should always do that, I feel. But you should always have an element of, not a plan B. I don't like saying plan B because plan B sucks, to be honest with you. You think about it.
Just don't cap yourself, innit?
You just want to be able to know you're good at more than one thing. To look at yourself and see that I am amazing, and you know what? You don't like me, or I'll lose this game, or I'll lose this boxing bout, but there's the next one. Or there's something else there for me anyway. So,
it's hard sometimes to, that kid, especially because he's thinking in his head that that's his identity. Like, and maybe that, even though that may not be true, that's what he's been growing up since age 7. That's been the whole thing, football, everything. Even when you're at school, you're younger, like, I'm representing this club. Even though you're thinking, your friends think you're going to be that guy, you're going to be that guy. Imagine, it's all just crushed. Sudden, it's not even a gradual build, it's sudden. So you ain't got the contract. You ain't getting signed further. And he's thinking, what else have I got outside of this? Even though that, like I said, it might not be true. It's just these young teenagers thinking that all my life I've been training for this. And yes, they're in education, but that's not really been like you said, their plan B.
Yeah.
After that, they don't know where to kind of look. And sometimes these people don't even have parents to fully like guide them.
Yeah.
So they're kind of looking, where do I look? Where do I look? And that's why it's good that we have like these councils that help the youth, like especially like you said, because I feel like people need to understand that their identity is not just in football. That was one thing I was learning with not just boxing, because before I used to be in academy for, I used to play rugby, Parliament's Academy. And I remember when I got dropped, because my school, my coach in my school was the one that helped me get the trials in the first place. I remember when I came back and he knew I was distraught. He was the main reason why I was able to kind of get back into my feet to understand that my identity is not just in rugby. He says that you're an athletic, you're an amazing person. You can still do what you want to do. Just don't reach it only in rugby. And I hear it. Plan B is not sweet because, you know, people had this idea that plan B means it's something you don't like.
Yeah.
It's not
Or
true.
that you failed at A, so now you're having to do B.
It don't mean that. It just means that you have something that even if this don't work out, at least I have something that I can still pursue, and it won't be the end of the world. Like, for example, when I got dropped from my academy, like I said, I didn't stop sports. I went into boxing, a new avenue, but I still had that plan B, which is I'm a software engineer, and I don't hate it. It's not as sweet as me punching another man's face, but it's still something that is a plan B that works for me. You understand? So, kind of grounded reality, also ambition. I feel like these kids need to understand that yes, you can be a footballer, you can be an amazing rugby player, you can be an amazing boxer, but just remember that this world ain't. Because people, this world's not fair. You understand?
And
So,
sports are limited. Like a lot of these sports, by the time you get to even the age that we're at now, early 30, you're thinking about retirement. You know what I mean? Because that's a 35-year-old in both sports is considered old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of life ahead of you even after that.
Yeah.
What I'll say about the team stuff is that one thing about the plan B and what you say about the alternatives is that when I'm going to like working with players and academies and stuff, is that you make friends over them years. There's people that have gone the journey with you. So you've been there for 7 years. Your friend's also been there for 7 years. But then you're seeing your friend achieve, and he's getting a contract next year. And it's like, how do kids navigate through? They've been friends with this person for 7, 8 years, but now their dream is still being realized. They're still on that journey, but your one's been cut short. But then you still got to go and see your friend because you hang out all the time. But then you got to see how he basks in his glory and his success while you're there feeling like you're failing.
Yeah.
And
then you have to try and
you have to have the right people around you. I think it's very important, the right friends. And when you're young, it's hard to sometimes be around people that are good for you, but you're right for you at that time.
Yeah.
But are they going to be? Because everyone takes different paths. It's how you find the friendships to keep close to help you navigate through where you're going, but also know that friendships can go astray. You're going to say, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you no more." Just a case of I'm doing this now, you're doing that, but we have a mutual respect and being able to be in that moment of we've been friends for years, but now we're not hanging out more. But it's not because we don't like each other. Because you will revert back to a negative. Like, oh, they're not talking to me now because I failed in my football career where you're succeeding. And then you start thinking loads of stuff.
So in terms of the academy's perspective, are they supporting people with their mental health?
And where I've worked, they're doing a lot more. They do player aftercare stuff where when you're being released, they're still having a thing where they keep tabs of you. So the education officers within the academies, they're checking up on people who no longer are part of the academy, but they're still getting help with the academy.
What's the duration for that? How long do they check in with them?
So it varies between off the one that I was working with, they have a 3-year aftercare plan. So if you're under 16, you got like 3 years off. If you're not, they'll either help you find clubs or they'll help you pursue a new passion and help you try and find ways to go and pursue it. And I think that needs to happen. I can't sit and speak for every football club to say that everyone's doing more because I don't know that. But I have seen more stuff here to help young people because fragile minds, you want to take in so much, you want to learn so much, but you also can't take and handle all of that at once. It's important to have the right support networks around you.
100%. Like in the terms of mental health perspective, being on the front line, we use sports as a therapy, the intervention, and as an outlet. It helps to keep people away from crime. So, and there is some statistics as well, which shows that physical activity is proven to improve your mental health as well. But the perspective that you've given as well, both of you, and from experiences that we've got here today, is so fundamental and it's really important. So I haven't had the opportunity, you know, either to work directly with the academies, or I usually meet a lot of the young people when they're experiencing depression and anxiety, and when I'm meeting them in a sense of when they're being assessed. And then when you go back into their history, and then you've seen this is the change of circumstances and this is the significant event that led to them feeling depressed and being anxious. So, and then we start to do the work with enabling them to go back into the community and exploring different avenues. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Akim, was when you made the decision to redirect in your career, was that something that your team helped you with, or is that something that you did independently?
Directing to boxing specifically was like my own thought, but like understanding that there's multiple avenues was more of a, like a coach telling you that it's not just the only thing, like rugby's not the only thing you can look at. But I would say there is a certain element where you as the person, whoever it is, like let's say the person's left the academy, there is a certain element where you have to make that decision for yourself. Like if I want to stay here, and I know it sounds harsh, but it's the truth, like, because you can't stay stagnant forever. Like it will eventually eat if you don't move. So it was a thing of exploring what I have, and boxing was the closest thing that kind of gave me that feeling again. Especially like big inspiration. There's this boxer named Isaac Chamberlain. Like and the thing is, I don't even know how to explain it, but when I watch him fight, his determination that he has, it kind of inspired me to get back, not even just to boxing specifically, but just sports again. So I would say, as the person individually, you have to make that decision to, okay, I need to move forward, I need to put my feet after the other. But yeah.
So collectively, what advice would you give to somebody who's going through a heartbreak or disappointment with sport, or they've faced a crossroad and they don't know where to turn?
Well, personally, I when my academy I stopped boxing, there wasn't really any aftercare for me whatsoever, because at the same time my academy kind of liquidated and disappeared. So even the people that were mentoring me were looking for support. You get what I mean? We were all kind of just lost, to be fair. So it was really messy the way that I got into it. So I would say, like, use it as a motivation, because for me, that's what kind of drew me into psychology in the first place, to study it, because I thought to myself, I need to be my own healer right now. Like, I need to understand why I feel, because it was years and years later, like, I stopped officially boxing, I think it was 2012 or 2013. I think maybe as local as like 4 years ago, I was still feeling the effects of coming out of that boxing career, and it just suddenly going from a trajectory that was going up to then just flatline. So I would say, there was a process where I had to comprehend what was going on, and I had to use the experience to kind of motivate others and myself to kind of move forward for things. And even listening to certain stories that was being told, it resonated with me in a different way, because it was like, I feel like I've seen that person, I've seen boy on the train, I've been that boy on the train. You get what I mean? So I think if you use whatever has put you into a bad situation to move you forward and amplify it, then you're always going to be able to enrich yourself and enrich other people at the same time, especially if they're going through something that mirrors what you've already gone through. Because as a counsellor now, I feel like the best work that I do is through young people that are in situations or have gone through situations that I personally have already been through. Because then they know, like, kids and young people are not silly. They know when you're just generically giving them advice, or when you're like from the heart saying to them, listen, I know exactly how you feel right now, and I'm telling you, like, take it from me, this is not the end, this is just the beginning of your story that later on in your life you're going to look back on and say, you know what, if I didn't go through that, then I wouldn't be the man or the lady that I am now. You get what I mean? So it's watching your fights back, but I had to stop doing that. I had to stop watching my fights back, because all you do is sit there and criticize yourself for the
that jab.
yeah, like, what was I doing there? Like, I need to tighten that up and whatever. So yeah, it gets, and then these days I'm hearing as well there's a lot of body dysmorphia in boxing in particular, because you have to reach that certain weight or whatever, and you're always trying to better yourself, so that always leads to an over amplified obsession with the way you look, the way you move, how strong you are, how tall you are, how short you, even things you can't change. So yeah,
100%.
there's always time to reinvent yourself, especially if you're as young as 15.
And this panel today is a testimony and is an example of that. So anybody who's going through that, just persevere, and just to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and from the representatives that we have today, that is possible. And also just going back to you, Glody, because you're actually you're creating your own fitness, isn't it, and your own organization.
Yeah.
So perhaps one of the recommendations that I will suggest is that, since there's no outlet, it seems like this is something that needs to be created.
Yeah.
So it's it's for people in the front line, people who are creating these opportunities as well, to create those spaces for change.
So we definitely need the funding.
Yeah.
Government.
For me, I didn't go to academy or have any hobbies like that when I was younger. My hobbies was playing out. Do you know what I'm saying? I was just outside playing out on the estate with a man. And that was our hobby, innit? We done that every day, 7 days a week. After school, after primary school, youth clubs, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't grow up in something so get into this or get into that, you know what I'm saying? So I found fitness later on in my life, and started Go Fitness UK based off of the lived experience that I was going through at the time. So obviously I went jail at 15, you know what I mean? Came out 18, went back to jail 20, came out 24, and then it was this last sentence here that I just done. I came out 28 years old. Was when I had a light bulb moment for transitioning my life, and the thought of using my life to help others to also transition. You know what I'm saying? So obviously I've done a lot of jail, and I've seen obviously where I've been jail at a young age, and I've gotten older in the system. I'm seeing now the younger generations in prison who that was me basically. Do you know what I'm saying? So one day I was just on the landing. So I was in one of the local prisons in London, in Woolwich, and there was a time period where they were transferring all the older guys out of the jail, and they were keeping they're bringing in newer the younger ones. But I was 25 at the time, but it was local release for me. They weren't transferring me out, so I was kind of stuck there until my release date. You know what I'm saying? So then what happened was that all the new boys from Cookenwood, Aylesbury felt basically whatever young offenders, they turned this jail that I'm in into an 18 to 21-year-old, and I'm 25. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I'm coming out on the landing, and the young boys are just running wild, man. Do you know what I'm saying? But for me, I'm saying, yo, that used to be me, because I was in Cookenwood. Do you know what I mean? I was in Feltham. I was in these places where these are actually coming from, and they're holding the same energy that I was holding. But looking at a 25-year-old man, I had to question, when will the cycle stop? Because they could be me years later as a 25-year-old still on the landing. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously I started working out from young offenders. I didn't really know how to work out at the time. I just lifted weights. I just went there, just lifted, and that was my workout. But obviously as time went on, I met other people that was into fitness, and I got showed things differently. So I started running fitness classes in the exercise yard with the man there. And the boys kind of looked up to me, you know what I'm saying? Kind of asked me for advice and asked me this and asked me for that. So I kind of like that feeling that these lot actually showing that they do want to change their life. And they just need someone that's able to direct them. You get me? Because most of these young boys are lost. They've got no direction. There's no future plans of their life, or everyone's just living from the now, and this is what's going on now. I need to make money now. I need to I got beef with them, and now, like, do you know what I'm saying? No one's thinking about where they're gonna be in 10 years' time. Like,
been able to share some fantastic stories today and real life experience here. And for me, particularly as a woman, it's been really insightful and interesting to see the impacts and the emotions as well of our guests here today. So for the viewers or anybody who is going through something similar, if you've come from it, if you haven't come from it, if you want to get some further information or want to seek some further advice and to get first-hand insight as to how our brothers here today have transitioned, all their contact details will be available, and you're more than happy to reach out to them and they can give you a better understanding and insight on their current situation. But a part of Bespoke Minds, we like to bring you variety, and we feel it's very important for our brothers to also have a safe outlet and a space for them to be heard, seen, and identified. So having said that, we've come to the end of today's show. I hope you've enjoyed the segment. Continue to follow us, showing us love and support, and stay tuned. Our session last time, you touched on your story just a little bit, and it was really captivating and very empowering.
Yeah.
So we thought it's only right to have you back because you've got a lot of gems to drop.